Okay, quorum 6, I got 4. If 2 more senators walk in, we're good. I think we're good to go. We got 6 senators in the House, and is Andrew? Is Andrew? Oh, there you go, Andrew, from Senator Karen Lewis Young's office to present Senate Bill 339, and it's John Serrano here. Mr. Serrano, come on up. Krista Walker, and is Ursula DeBerry here? Okay. Those are the extent of the witnesses on this bill, and we're on Senate Bill 339. And Andrew, welcome to the EEE Committee, so whenever you're ready, you can proceed. And just for everybody, other than the folks who are presenting the bill, all the other witnesses are going to be on the up to 2-minute clock, okay? We have to be clocking folks today. So not the person on behalf of the sponsor. Okay, Andrew, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Andrew on behalf of Senator Karen Lewis Young. I'm here to present SB 339, Maryland School for the Deaf Board of Trustees alterations. This is a very simple bill. The Maryland School for the Deaf has 2 campuses, one of which is in Frederick. At the moment, they have 19 members on the board. They're looking to reduce that number to 13 members to help the board more easily achieve a quorum and make it more nimble in its decision-making. With me today, I have the superintendent and the president of the board who will speak to those points. This is not the first time we have reduced the board size for the Maryland School for the Deaf. The last time was in 1992, where we reduced the board size from 30 members to the current number of 19. The second important thing that this bill will do is make sure that the board, by statute, has a majority of deaf members. It currently has a majority of deaf members, but it is not required by statute. It is required to have a minimum of 6 deaf members. It makes sense that it has a majority of deaf members because of the population that it serves. And with that, I will turn it over to my panel.
Okay, who wants to go next? Who wants? Do you have a sequence here? Okay.
Yes, I'll go. Hello, good afternoon, Chair Feldman and members of the committee. I'll introduce myself again. My name is John A. Serrano, and I am superintendent of the Maryland School for the Deaf. And joining me today is the Board of Trustees President, Krista Leach-Walker. We are here today to urge your support for SB 339, this bill jointly requested by the Maryland School for the Deaf and its Board of Trustees. This is a vital step in modernizing the governance of one of our state's most storied institutions. Since 1868, MSD has been the sole provider of specialized tuition-free public education for deaf and hard-of-hearing students across Maryland. To ensure the school can continue this mission for the next 150 years, we need a board that is structured for efficiency and deep community representation. This bill does 2 critical things. First, it guarantees a permanent deaf majority. By reducing the board size to 13 and increasing the minimum number of deaf members to 7, we ensure that the school's leadership is always guided by those with lived cultural and linguistic expertise necessary to serve our students. Second, it right-sizes the board for modern governance. At 19 members, the current board is larger than necessary for a state the size of Maryland, which can lead to delayed decision-making and difficulty reaching a quorum. A 13-member board aligns MSD with the Maryland State Board of Education. Furthermore, national research into similar independent state agencies and schools for the deaf shows that many effective governing boards do not exceed 9 members. By passing this legislation, you are supporting a board that can meet more efficiently, act more transparently, and use public resources more responsibly. by reducing administrative costs. I respectfully ask for a favorable report on SB 339.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
your consideration.
Okay, who wants to go next?
On behalf of the Maryland School for the Deaf Board of Trustees, we are in full support of this restructuring and the reduction in the numbers and guaranteeing that there is a majority representation of deaf and hard of hearing people in our governance system. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Berry?
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. On behalf of the Governor's Office of Deaf and Hard of Hearing, I am the Director, Ashler DeBerry, and we write in support of Senate Bill 339. This bill proposes alterations to the membership of the Maryland School for the Deaf Board of Trustees. GODHH's mission is to promote the general welfare of deaf and hard of hearing Marylanders through advocacy, policy guidance, and advancing equitable access. SB 339 aligns with this mission by strengthening deaf representation on the Board of Trustees and ensuring that the governance reflects lived experience and cultural competence. While this bill reduces the number of trustees, this change actually reflects sound governance principles. Smaller boards are widely recognized as more effective and efficient in carrying out fiduciary and strategic responsibilities. A streamlined board enhances deliberation, improves accountability, and allows members to engage more deeply in oversight and policy direction. Reducing the number of seats does not diminish representation. Rather, this bill ensures that individuals maintain strong and meaningful representation within a more focused governance structure. The Maryland School for the Deaf plays a critical role in providing educational services to deaf and hard of hearing students across our entire state. Ensuring that a majority of the board members are deaf promotes lived experience representation and supports decision-making that reflects the cultural, linguistic, and educational realities of deaf students and families. Meaningful deaf representation on governing bodies is essential to advancing educational equity and preserving the integrity of deaf-centered educational environments. By requiring that at least 7 members of the board be deaf, SB 339 reinforces the importance of lived experience in shaping educational policy and leadership decisions affecting deaf students across Maryland. A board that is both efficiently structured and grounded in community perspective will better serve our students, families, and stakeholders statewide. For these reasons, GODHH respectfully urges a favorable report on Senate Bill 339. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you to all the witnesses. Any questions for this panel? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill here on Senate Bill 339. Next up, we're going to go to Senate Bill 409, the Anne Arundel County Senators, and I think Michael Cardozo is in the house, and we're going to bring you up, Michael, to present the bill on behalf of Senator Giles and the Anne Arundel County Senators. The only additional witness is Dana Schalheim, and okay, perfect. You're the 2 witnesses on the bill. Again, we're on Senate Bill 409. Welcome, Mr. Cardozo, to the EEE Committee. Your first time presenting a bill, and therefore you may start. You will not be timed, but you will be our other witness will be on the 2-minute clock. Okay?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, members of the committee. For the record, Mike Cardozo on behalf of Senator Dawn Guile, District 33, here to present Senate Bill 409. SB 409 increases the compensation of the President, Vice President, and members of the Anne Arundel County Board of Education, as well as the scholarship award for the student member of the county board. This bill would not impact any current board members, as all current terms conclude at the end of 2028. Instead, it is prospective in nature and applies only to future board members with the goal of strengthening the long-term health and effectiveness of the Anne Arundel County Board of Education. Specifically, the president's annual salary would increase from $17,000 to $25,000, the vice president's from $16,000 to $24,000, and each board member's salary from $15,000 to $23,000. In addition, the scholarship granted to a student member upon completion of a full term would increase from $15,000 to $23,000 for any term that begins on or after July 1, 2029. This change would be in line with Montgomery and Prince George's counties as reflected in the written testimony. This act does not apply to the salary or compensation of the president, vice president, members, or student member of the Anne Arundel County Board of Education while serving in a term of office that begins before the effective date of October 1, 2026. The provisions concerning compensation would take effect at the beginning of the next following term of office, which begins December 4th, 2028. This limitation does not apply to an individual appointed or elected after the effective date to fill an unexpired term. Local boards of education in Maryland are uniquely situated in that they exercise executive, legislative, and quasi-judicial authority. They are responsible for governance and oversight of the school system, supervision of the superintendent, adoption of policy, and approval of a budget that currently totals approximately $1.9 billion in operating funds and $231 million in capital investments for Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Importantly, board members carry out these responsibilities without the benefits of personal staff support, despite the significant time commitment and complexity of the work. Providing more appropriate compensation may also make service on the board more accessible to individuals from a broader range of professional and socioeconomic backgrounds, including those who may not otherwise be in a position to take on what is often a year-round commitment. There is no fiscal impact on the state. Anne Arundel County expenditures would increase by approximately $32,000 in fiscal year 2029, reflecting just over half a year of increased compensation for the 7 elected members whose terms begin in December 2028, and approximately $64,000 annually beginning in fiscal year 2030, inclusive of the increased student member scholarship. With that, Mr. Chair, I respectfully request a favorable report on SB 409.
Okay, Schalheim.
Greetings, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Dana Schalheim, and I am the longest-serving elected member of the Board of Education of Anne Arundel County, first elected in 2018 and re-elected in 2024. I'm here in support of Senate Bill 409, which would provide better compensation for future Anne Arundel Board of Ed members beginning July 1st, 2029. I speak today as an individual and not on behalf of the board. I respectfully request a favorable vote. I want to make clear to the committee that this legislation is not about me or 2 of my colleagues who are also termed out December of 2028. This is about future board members and the overall health of our board. Better board compensation is important for the following reasons. In Anne Arundel County Board of Ed members have no committed staff for each member of the board and do not receive personal benefits of any kind, including health insurance. We do have 1 executive level assistant for the entire board and her assistant. Both keep the business of the board running and handle constituent services on behalf of all members. Maryland boards of education are the only elected bodies that have an executive, legislative, and quasi-judicial function. We provide oversight and governance, employ the superintendent, make complex policy decisions, and approve a budget which currently stands at approximately $1.9 billion for the operating budget and $231 million for the capital budget. Higher compensation formally recognizes the substantial time, expertise, and dedication required for these essential public service roles. Board of Education members' time is spent with constituent services, preparing and attending numerous meetings, including our open meetings, our closed sessions, committee meetings and conferences, attending school and community events. I could be out every night of the week if I wanted to. Offering better compensation makes the position more accessible and appealing to a wider range of individuals, reducing financial barriers and creating a board that better reflects the racial and socioeconomic makeup of Anne Arundel County and the students it serves year-round and sometimes equivalent to a full-time job. Establishing better compensation can help standardize expectations for performance and time commitment, potentially attracting individuals with professional skill sets and relevant experience. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you today. I respectfully ask for a favorable report.
Okay, Michael, I know the delegation hasn't yet voted, but when they do, we'll need a letter in order for us to move this bill, okay? A delegation letter, so just make a note of that. Any questions for Mr. Cardozo or Mr. Shaw, Ms. Schalheim? Yeah, yes?
I just want to correct the record that the Arundel delegation did vote on this bill already.
Okay, well, then we need a letter. Oh, House delegate, we need a Arundel Senate delegation letter, correct. Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Appreciate your time.
That concludes bill hearing on Senate Bill 409. We're Senator Heddleman or any here yet? Okay, I apologize. Rosika Covington here on behalf of Senator Heddleman. We're here on Senate Bill 307. And is Vida Pavala here as well as a witness? Come on up, Vida, you are the two witnesses on Senate Bill 307. And Rosika, I understand you're an intern for Senator Heddleman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, welcome to the EEE Committee.
Thank you.
And you
for
can
having me.
begin on Senate Bill 307.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Rosiki Covington, and I am here as a health policy intern on behalf of Senator Heddleman in support of SB 0307. A few years ago, the Maryland General Assembly passed important legislation requiring the installation of menstrual product dispensers in public, middle, and high schools. That law was a meaningful step towards addressing period poverty and promoting educational equity. However, while the statute required the installation of dispensers, it did not explicitly require that these dispensers be regularly restocked. And as a result, many students are encountering empty dispensers, undermining both the intent and the effectiveness of the original law. An empty dispenser sends a discouraging message to students. Menstrual products are not luxuries. They are basic health necessities. When products are unavailable, students may miss valuable instruction time, experience embarrassment or stress, or even leave school early. This disproportionately impacts students from low-income households and contributes to avoidable disparities in attendance and academic performance. This bill is a practical and necessary clarification. It does not expand on the original mandate or create a new program. Instead, it assures that the existing requirement functions as intended. By requiring regular restocking, we close the gap in implementation and make sure that access to menstrual products is reliable and meaningful, not merely symbolic. Additionally, this bill has no state fiscal effect. Since it simply clarifies the current law and aligns with the original legislative intent, it does not materially affect local governmental finances either. It ensures accountability without imposing new financial burdens. At its core, this legislation is about dignity, health, and educational access. Students should never have to worry about whether they can manage a normal biological process while at school. By passing this bill, you reaffirm the state's commitment to equity and creating supportive learning environments for all students. A full range of the stakeholder perspectives is included in our written testimony, which was submitted for the record, including a handwritten letter from a 6th grade student. I respectfully urge the committee to give this bill a favorable report, and I thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, thank you. Okay, why don't you proceed? You'll be on the up to 2-minute clock.
Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and distinguished members of the committee. My name is Veda Puvala, and I'm a junior from Crofton High School. While my testimony today is from a personal perspective, I also currently serve as the CRASC, also known as the Chesapeake Region Association of Student Councils, Legislative Liaison. With that in mind, I am here today to urge your support for SB 307. A bill that ensures all county boards of education in Maryland will ensure each public school regularly restocks dispensers in the women's restrooms with menstrual hygiene products. Personally, as a female student in Crofton High School, I have the privilege of not commonly seeing empty menstrual hygiene product dispensers. However, this isn't the case for many students across Maryland. The Alliance for Period Supplies states that 1 in 4 teens in the United States miss class because they lack access to period supplies. I have personally heard many experiences from students in Montgomery County who have seen empty dispensers in their schools. After all, no student wants to be running around during class time searching for a menstrual hygiene product. This bill simply reaffirms that the menstrual products that are already required to be in women's restrooms are restocked and available regularly. Simply put, Senate Bill 307 recognized the value of accessible menstrual hygiene products in Maryland schools by ensuring regular restocking of dispensers. With that said, I strongly urge a favorable report for Senate Bill 307. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for our two witnesses? Yes, Senator Simonet.
Thank you. Did you reach out to these schools that didn't restock, and did you get resistance from them?
I don't believe we received resistance from the schools. It's more so an issue that we're seeing across the entire state. We shouldn't have to reach out to individual schools to make sure that they're restocking. If it needs to be a mandate to make sure that all schools across the state are doing it.
No, and I understand that. It just, what laws we put in here, it just seems a little unusual to put in law that you have to restock. I mean, we have other places in law that we would consider putting that in as well. So if it's risen to the point where you're going to put it in state law, I was just curious if you had reached out to these schools and they're saying we don't want to do it, therefore we got to bring the hammer of the law to them. But you're saying you haven't gotten resistance, you just want to clarify that they have to restock?
Yes, sir. It's more so because it's a widespread problem, and we're just trying to close the gap in implementation that wasn't originally mentioned in the first law.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, additional questions? Senator Kagan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, you guys both did great. Congratulations, and maybe someday down the road a little, don't wait too long, maybe you'll be sitting in one of these chairs. So keep an open mind on that. We need more fabulous young women like you running for office. I have a question, and I'm not trying to do a gotcha. I would love your ideas, though. In the bill, it says regularly restock. Regularly once a week, once a month, once an hour? That's not clear. I wonder what you think it should be.
We have not discussed a specific timeline, but I do think that's something that we will take under consideration and continue to discuss. Personally, I do think that they should be restocked when they're empty, so there should be an attendant or a janitor or someone who is checking the dispensers and restocking, but that is something that we will take under advisement and consideration.
So the challenge that I could imagine is I'm out of supplies at home and it's Friday, and so all weekend. So I come in and I grab just a whole bunch, and then the next person, within the hour, there's nothing left for her. So I don't know what the right frequency might be. But thank you for your answer. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Watson.
Thank you for this. It's very, very important. This, I see, is no different than when toilet paper runs out. Folks need to go in there and restock. This should be a no-brainer. And would you agree that when the janitor or the service comes in there and they find something that's not sufficient, they restock it, and this should simply be one of those, right?
Yes, that's what I feel. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Additional questions for either of our two witnesses? Okay, thank you for the bill. Good testimony. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes the bill hearing. Senate Bill 307. I see Senator Bailey walked in here. Come on up here, Jack. Senate Bill 292. And I'm going to call up some witnesses. Jeffrey Thompson, Jacinta Hughes, Gloria Holt. And we have one virtual witness, or is she on there? Well, he was sitting, yeah, he was here. Senate Bill 292. Okay. Okay, Senator Bailey, we're going to start with you, Senate Bill 292.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and distinguished members of the committee. My pleasure to be here today with you. I represent, just for the record, St. Mary's in Calvert County, District 29. Senate Bill 292 would make permanent a law passed originally in 2021 that created a framework allowing local school systems to use alternative forms of transportation for certain groups of students for which it would be infeasible or impractical to use traditional school buses. This law allowed local school systems to use alternative forms of transportation for preschool-age students, students with disabilities, homeless youth, children in foster care, students without access to school buses, students in non-public school placement, students in dual enrollment programs, work programs, or other educational programs based outside of the school campus. This law also allowed local school systems to provide alternative forms of transportation through written determination by the county boards of education. I would go on, but it's Friday. You all have all of my testimony. I just wanted to point out to you that this is a current law. I have also submitted with this bill an amendment to add required review of current regulations that was amended onto the House version of this legislation. I believe this review will address most, if not all, of the issues raised in testimony if the bill, it's in the bill file that requests amendments. But we need this bill first to extend MSDE's regulatory authority by repealing the sunset. I respectfully request a favorable report. I would stand for any questions, and I turn it over to the experts that view this every day.
Okay, thank you. Sir, why don't you put the mic closer? Okay, there you go.
All right. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman and the members of the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. For the record, I am Jeff Thompson. I'm the Director of Transportation for St. Mary's County Public Schools. I'm here today requesting a favorable report on Senate Bill 292, which will repeal the sunset provision of the law that allows public school systems to transport students to and from school using alternative school vehicles. I started in transportation in 2007, and from then until today, the demand on specialized student transportation services has increased significantly year after year, while at the same time, we have faced a shortage of CDL drivers. In 2020, this all came to a head when COVID occurred. At that time, many school systems in Maryland had a large number of school bus drivers who chose to retire rather than return, and we did not have a supply of new drivers to fill those vacancies. However, when that occurred, we are fortunate that this body passed legislation in 2021 to allow the option for school systems to use alternative school vehicles to transport students to and from school. The original legislation, working with the Maryland Department of Education, established safeguards on the vehicles and also safeguards on the drivers to ensure a continued level of student safety while providing school systems an option to help students access their educational opportunities. The need for the specialized transportation continues to increase, and it remains crucial to keep this option in place by repealing the sunset provision. I again ask a favorable report on Senate Bill 292. Thank you, and I'm open for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Take that mic.
Good afternoon. Jacinta Hughes, Senior Director for Baltimore City Public Schools. Alternative school vehicles are an essential part of our transportation strategy. They allow us to safely and efficiently transport students to alternative programs and specialized settings that cannot always be served by traditional school buses. In a dense urban district like Baltimore City, the flexibility is crucial. Repealing the sunset provision ensures stability, supports local decision-making, and helps us control costs while maintaining access for our most vulnerable students. For these reasons, we respectfully urge a favorable report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We do have one additional witness, is virtual, Monica Brooks from Wacomico County NAACP. We're going to bring her in, and then we'll take questions. She signed up straight favorable. Okay, Ms. Brooks, you there? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So you can start.
We're still
You're
struggling
signed up.
from the snow power situations. But good
Okay.
afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Monica Brooks, and I am here testifying in favor of this bill, asking for a favorable report. Transportation is a huge issue in rural communities like ours. Long distances, limited routes, and staffing shortages. Make it impossible for traditional school buses to meet every student's needs. That reality should not prohibit us from creatively and responding to them. And this bill does that. It removes the sunset on existing law that allows student districts to use non-standard transportation, such as vans and, or contracted vehicles when traditional buses are not feasible. This authority already exists. The bill simply makes it permanent so districts can plan and serve students without uncertainty. This flexibility is especially critical for students with disabilities, homeless youth, as you've already heard. But without alternative transportation, these students are not choosing to miss school, or services, but they're being blocked logistically. In rural communities, transportation barriers quickly become participation barriers. And when students cannot get to school, early intervention or required programs, they fall behind through no fault of their own. So it allows schools to use this system and common sense solutions. And we should not allow geography, income, or instability to determine whether a child can access education. So we thank you for this opportunity to speak, and we ask for a favorable report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll take questions. Senator Cardozo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Bailey, thank you for this bill. And Ms. Brooks, thank you for testifying. And my question actually is to Ms. Brooks. I think you have been involved in some of the meetings with the school superintendent where we've talked about the challenges of some of our students, particularly in those rural areas, to be able to access not only school but other activities. And I just wanted to see if you had recently participated in any of those meetings.
No, I had not been in any of those recent meetings, but this has been an ongoing conversation that I've had with the superintendent and our organization for a number of years.
Okay. So. And I thank you for your leadership on that. Thank you.
Okay, additional questions for Senator Bailey or any of the witnesses? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on Senate Bill 292. Thank you, Senator Bailey.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Senator Watson. You ready? Senate Bill 375. And I've got one witness, Regina McCotter-Jacobs from the National School Boards Association. There you are. Okay. Yep. So Senator Watson's going to present the bill. And then we'll take our one witness, then we'll take questions. Senator Watson, the floor is yours.
The floor is yours. Sounds like that show Trader, which I love. All right. All right, good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and my distinguished colleagues. For the record, Senator Ron Watson, representing the 23rd Legislative District and proud sponsor of Senate Bill 375. This bill requires the Maryland State Department of Education to develop or approve a comprehensive artificial intelligence training program for members of our county boards of education. This program includes both foundational instruction and ongoing annual training to ensure that local board members are equipped to make informed, responsible decisions about AI in our public schools. Artificial intelligence is no longer theoretical. It shaped how students learn, how teachers teach, and how administrators operate. From personalized tutoring tools to automated grading systems, predictive analytics to identify struggling students, and AI-driven accessibility support for students with disabilities, this technology is rapidly transforming education. However, with opportunity comes responsibility. County boards of education are charged with overseeing complex decisions involving procurement, policy development, student data privacy, and ethical standards. AI systems can influence grading, discipline, curriculum access, and even resource allocation. And these are not minor operational matters. They go to the heart of equity, fairness, and student protection. Senate Bill 375 ensures that board members understand the capabilities, limitation, and risks of artificial intelligence, how to develop age-appropriate and ethically sound AI use policies, student privacy and data protection laws, and procurement guidelines and best practices for oversight. This legislation also aligns Maryland with national priorities. In April 2025, Executive Order 14277 established advancing AI education for American youth as a federal priority. If AI literacy is a priority for our students, and AI literacy is a priority for our teachers, it must also be a priority for those who are elected to govern our education system. Without proper training, local boards risk adopting tools they don't fully understand, entering contracts without adequate safeguards, or failing to protect student data. Conversely, without understanding AI's potential, boards may miss opportunities to expand access to tutoring, support multilingual learners, assist students with disabilities, and reduce administrative burdens on teachers. This bill strikes a balanced approach. It requires foundational training for school board members, followed by continuing annual updates that reflect the rapid developments in AI technology and evolving best practices for school board members. It allows flexibility in fulfilling the educational requirements to online, in-person, or hybrid resources and permits professional organizations to provide the instruction. Most importantly, it creates accountability. Completion must be documented, and the department will publish compliance reports and evaluate the program's effectiveness. Our students are already interacting with AI systems, often daily. The question is not whether AI will be part of education, it's whether we will lead with knowledge, foresight, and responsibility, and this bill ensures that. In addition to the things that aren't often talked about, this bill is very closely aligned with the bill Senator Hester presented yesterday, Senate Bill 720, which talked about AI Ready Schools Act. But from the school board's perspective, you know, the school board needs to understand deep fakes and understand how the technology for mitigating the risks that come with it. They need to understand child sexual abuse material. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reported nearly 5,000 reports of child sexual abuse material using generative AI in 2023 alone. They need to understand general data privacy. You know, how do we identify the tools that collect the data? What national standards and resources do we use? How are we vetting these vendors? What type of training does staff need? And finally, there are many legal considerations for AI that we don't often talk about. The children's online privacy protection, children's internet protection, protection for pupil rights, American with disabilities, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, copyright laws and the use of AI, software use agreements and parental consent, and again, data privacy and security. And so I've said a lot of things multiple times because these are not the traditional things that you think of when you talk about getting somebody up to speed in AI. It's often how to use the tools, but it's never how to oversee an institution like a school system or school district that you're responsible for now that you've been elected to be enabled to use. Finally, we had a gentleman who was supposed to be with us here today, Mr. Chair, who couldn't make it. His name is Felton Moss, and he is currently a sitting member of the Prince George's County Board of Education. And I won't read his whole piece, but I'll just mention two things. As a sitting board member right here in Maryland, I know that local governance is where policy meets the pupil. We cannot oversee what we do not understand. Training board members is the only way to ensure that AI implementation is safe, ethical, and equitable across all of our school districts. And finally, he says, I want to address the unfunded mandate argument. In education policy, we must distinguish between a burden and a necessity. Avoiding a framework for AI simply because it requires investment isn't fiscal responsibility, it's negligence. We would never call a student safety an unfunded mandate. And in 2026, AI literacy is student safety and future readiness. And finally, this bill basically says the training program developed or approved by the department under this section may be offered by an organization responsible for the professional development and education of members of county boards. Colleagues, I'm pleased to have with me Ms. Gina Jacobs, the president and CEO of the National School Boards Association, who for 4 years I had the privilege of serving with on Prince George's County Board of Education, and she actually served as the chair of that board, and I was her right-hand man as vice chair. So I'd like to hand it over to her because her organization has already implemented a tool that is being marketed across the country where school board members are already using it to get certifications that they understand how to properly administer policy with respect to AI in their own boards of education. Ms. Jacobs.
Hey, welcome, Ms. Jacobs. Is that how you saw Senator Watson as your right hand? Is that how you remember it, or is he just kind of embellished?
Batman and Robin.
Okay, Ms. Jacobs, you're up.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the committee. My name is Gina Jacobs. I'm the CEO of the National School Boards Association, where we represent school boards across the country. I'm also a fellow Marylander. For a decade, I served on the Prince George's County School Board, and for 6 of those years, I served as chair I also served as president of the Maryland Association of Boards of Education, which you all know as MABE. So I know firsthand what's happening across the country and in many respects what's happening in Maryland. So I know firsthand the success of any education policy depends on the strength and preparedness of our local school boards. Today, we are witnessing the most significant technological shift since the dawn of the internet. Artificial intelligence offers unparalleled opportunities to personalize learning for each child. It empowers teachers to differentiate instruction at scale and break down accessibility barriers for our multilingual and our neurodivergent learners. However, it also introduces profound questions regarding data privacy and academic integrity. Most importantly, we must ensure that high-quality AI is available to every child, and answering these challenges requires sound policy and informed strategic leadership. And that is why the National School Boards Association partnered with the National AI Academy to launch AI Smart certification. We did this as a result of local school board members realizing that policy is really important when it comes to AI. Through this self-directed online course, education leaders gain a clear understanding of AI's impact on teaching and district operations, allows an opportunity to master best practices protecting student data, and develop the capacity to lead AI-driven transformation without losing the human element, which is an important component of our training. This isn't just theory for me. Of course, having sat in this seat, I have sat in the seats of local leaders who will carry out this work, and I have talked to them across the country about the challenge that AI presents. As we roll out this program nationally, I see a unique opportunity for Maryland to serve as the gold standard. And for our students' future, it is very important that Maryland allow boards of education in the state to provide the opportunity to have this training and not just volunteer, but have it as a mandate. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Senator Watson or Ms. Jacobs? We do have a question from Senator Hester.
Senator Watson, I love this bill.
I thought you might.
My question is about, because you've been on the school board, correct? Yeah. What kinds of purchasing decisions, does a school board make? And when they're making big purchases, what would you see that might have AI embedded in them?
So, and I'll let Ms. Jacobs respond because she's dealing with this on a day-to-day. When I was on the school board 20 years ago, there was a dollar figure. And if it was over that dollar figure, say $100,000, that's when the board had to make a decision to approve a specific procurement and understand what the procurement was for and have an opportunity to ask those questions in a closed session. Ms. Jacobs.
I would just add, if you look at it as building a building, the board is the architect and sets the vision. The superintendent picks the tools. So when they select the tools for AI within the district, it'll come to the board to vote on those things. And our perspective is that the board cannot properly address its fiduciary duty and its duty to make sure accountability occurs in the district if it's not familiar with the tool itself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So essentially, for example, we have districts right now who are developing their policies, and it'll say, how students are going to use AI in the classroom. And those, oftentimes, many vendors, as you might know, come to school districts, and boards have to vote on those things. So they're going to be looking at what are the accountability pieces, how are superintendents going to present the information to the board in a way that they can then, within, whatever the policy is, they'll put the accountability and get reports throughout the year.
Thank you. And if I might just ask one follow-up. So, would it be fair to say that the spectrum of what the board's deciding on, it could be like a school security system, which might embed AI and may or may not work well or work without bias in terms of the security system. But on the other hand, they might also make the decision about whether or not to roll out ChatGPT on the Chromebooks. And in that case, whether or not to use the free version or the upgraded version, which would then, protect the students' data. Would both of those be good examples?
Great examples. We're working with, we have a vendor right now that's reached out to us because they use AI around school security. You may have heard the national news where there was a report that there was a gun in a school. In fact, it was a bag of potato chips. And so what we're trying to do with board members, when you're making these decisions, don't leave out the human element. So this vendor, for example, is saying to us, we'd like to talk to your members because we include the human element in this process so that it's not just AI. So those are good examples.
Okay. Senator Harris, you're good? Okay. Additional questions for the panel? Seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on Senate Bill 375. Senator Watson, stay right there. Senate Bill 381.
You leave. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I'm still Senator Ron Watson, and I'm here now presenting Senate Bill 381, the Education School Building Energy Usage Monthly Report, and respectfully request your favorable report. During my time as a member of the Prince George's County Board of Education, it was particularly challenging to negotiate the demands of our limited budget, and it was most difficult to identify savings. One area where schools can adjust and save energy is consumption. Did you know that by adjusting the school building temperatures by 1 degree lower in the winter and 1 degree higher in the summer, this simple adjustment can save school systems approximately $1 million annually, preserving more than 10 teaching positions on a budget, in a budget cycle. I'm sure many of us have probably encountered experiences, especially in a lot of buildings during the summer when it feels like a freezer and when you're forced to put a coat on inside the building. But in the winter, it's so hot that you have to remove your blazer to feel comfortable. Senate Bill 381, which requires school systems to report their energy uses to the Interagency Commission on School Construction, IAC, to help to ensure buildings are comfortable and schools are not wasting energy. Every month, the IAC will analyze the data to provide recommendations for energy savings and identify potential issues, ensuring optimal temperatures in school buildings and addressing other concerns. Properly heated and cooled buildings can reduce maintenance costs by up to 20% and extend the lifespan of the facility by 20% as well. We know that the Maryland Energy Administration provides grants to help schools decarbonize. However, this bill is not directly about green energy. It's something different. This bill does not require any additional funding, nor does it involve school construction at all. It simply requires local school systems to share their energy usage data with the IAC. And this bill would hold school systems accountable for their energy usage to ensure that energy is used efficiently and waste is minimized. According to the IAC, this initiative is both feasible and readily implementable. We simply need to establish a structured process to move forward. Most LEAs already have this energy information available through their utility provider that can upload energy usage data to a free online platform automatically each month. The platform provides free access to state agencies to upload data, eliminating the need for schools to manually dispatch data to the state. In addition, the bill would increase both transparency and accountability of LEAs. This information is essential to identifying inefficiencies and waste, providing opportunities for reducing costs in decarbonization facilities to meet the state's adopted climate-protected goals. I'm confident that this bill will allow us to access data effectively and efficiently, improve our practices, and significantly enhance the management of school properties. And I ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 381.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Senator Watson? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing, Senate Bill 381.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Going to go to Senator Brooks next. Senator Brooks, are you ready to do Senate Bill 263?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I want to bring up some witnesses. Let's see who we got. Start with your sponsor panelist. Is Lindsay Livingston here? Is Jacob Livingston here? Is Brittany Martin here, by the way? Brittany, why don't you just come up here, sign up straight favorable. And then we do have 2 virtual witnesses. Do we have any virtual ones? Which one? Okay, and we'll pull up Mr. Arnold. Christopher Arnold is part of your sponsor panel. Okay, Senator Brooks, why don't you start on Senate Bill 263?
Hi, Chair Feldman and my great committee. Thank you for allowing me to testify before you on Senate Bill 263. For the record, I'm Senator Ben Brooks, representing the 10th Legislative District in Baltimore County. Senate Bill 263, that's advanced enrollment procedures for dependent children of active duty service members. Maryland is a member of the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunities for Military Children, which provides important protection for military-connected students as they move between states. However, when the compact sets baseline expectation, it does not guarantee timely enrollment or address the practical barriers families face when they receive short notice orders and are not yet physically present in the state. SB 263 builds on the compact by requiring local superintendents to offer a remote advanced enrollment process, allowing military families to begin registration before arriving in Maryland and finalizing enrollment within 10 days of the arrival. The bill also ensures continuity for students with disabilities, so special education services are not interrupted. SB 263 moves us from compliance to a meaningful support, providing stability for military children and certainty for their families. A version of this bill passed out of this committee and the full Senate last session. The current version includes the compromise amendments negotiated between the House and the Senate that unfortunately did not make it back to the Senate during concurrences. There is an additional clarifying amendment that ensures implementation is applied consistently as intended. SB 263 allows military families to complete enrollment in advance, but it does not require school systems to provide transportation, instruction, or special education services before a child is physically present. The bill makes clear that services are provided in the same manner as for any other student, which means service begins when the student is attending school. The intent is to eliminate administrative delays, not to change service delivery obligations. Further, SB 263 does not create any special or ongoing transportation obligations for military-connected students who remain to complete the school year after the family relocates. Transportation is provided only in the same manner and under the same circumstances for all other students. SB 263 builds on the interstate compact by removing administrative enrollment barriers for military families while preserving existing rules for service, ensuring smooth transition without creating new mandates. For these reasons, I respectively request a favorable report. And now I'll go to my...
Okay, well, we've got two witnesses with the last name Livingston, and I'm going to assume we've got Jacob and Lindsay. You want to start, Lindsay, and then we'll let Jacob weigh in? Okay, go on.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of Senate Bill 263. My name is Lindsay Livingston. I serve as the Director of Communications, Outreach, and Advocacy for the Department of Veteran and Military Families. I am also a military spouse. My husband is currently on active duty with the Navy for over 23 years. Together, we are raising 3 boys. Like so many military children, have had to navigate the challenges of frequent moves. On average, a military child moves 6 to 9 times during their K through 12 career. In just a moment, you'll hear from my oldest son, who is in 9th grade and in his 6th school. Every move brings a new set of challenges: enrolling in a new school, transferring transcripts, ensuring continued access to support services, and adjusting to different state policies and requirements. As a mother, these transitions are not just logistically difficult, but emotionally exhausting. The burden of advocating for my children's education while managing the stress of a relocation should not fall so heavily on military families. This bill provides a vital solution by allowing military families to advance enroll their children remotely before arriving in Maryland. It ensures military children are not left behind while waiting for paperwork to process or seats to become available. This bill also facilitates coordination between school districts for families with children who need special education services, like one of my boys, and preventing unnecessary delays in receiving essential support. Maryland is home to thousands of military families, and we must remain competitive in attracting them. 23 states have already passed legislation to make school enrollment easier for military-connected families. When service members receive orders to move, they're not just looking for a place to live, they're looking for communities to thrive in. This bill really sends a strong message that Maryland values their military community and is committed to making their transition here as smooth as possible. I respectfully ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 263.
Okay, Jacob, your mom set a big high bar. You can see what you got.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of Senate Bill 263. My name is Jacob Livingston, and I am a ninth grader at South River High School. I'm a military kid, and my dad has served in the Navy for more than 23 years. And because of his service, my family has moved a lot, and I'm currently in my sixth school, and I'm only in ninth grade. Every time we move, school is the hardest part. You're the new kid again, you don't know the teachers, the rules are different, and sometimes you're not even sure what classes you'll be able to take until after school starts. That can be really stressful, especially when you're already leaving friends behind. One of the hardest parts is the waiting for paperwork, waiting to find out where you'll go to school, waiting to see if there's a space for you. And if you need extra support like special education services, I don't need that. That waiting can feel even longer. Senate Bill 263 would make a real difference for kids like me by allowing military kids, or families, to enroll their children in school before they arrive in Maryland. It gives us one less thing to worry about during a move. That means we can show up on day one knowing where we belong, what classes we'll be in, and that support will be there when we need it. Military kids don't choose to move, but we do our best to adapt. This bill helps make sure we don't fall behind just because our parents serve our country. Maryland has the chance to show that it understands military families and values military children. Supporting this bill tells kids like me that our education matters too. Thank you for listening, and I respectfully ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 263.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Excellent job. Okay, we're going to go, Ms. Martin, why don't you go next?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Brittany Martin. I'm a military spouse from Joint Base Andrews. I am here today to provide testimony in strong support of Senate Bill 263, and I wish to illustrate its critical importance through my family's recent experience. This past August, my family executed a local military move from Charles County to Prince George's County. Despite presenting official military orders and a signed housing contract, the school district refused to enroll our daughter, deeming our documentation insufficient for proof of residency. This initiated a significant ordeal. It compelled my husband and myself to take repeated leave from our duties to procure additional documentation, all while our daughter's enrollment remained uncertain. The resulting delays caused her to miss her first day of school, leaving her with feelings of anxiety and exclusion as she watched her peers begin the school year without her. The challenges my family faced would have been entirely preventable under the provisions outlined in Senate Bill 263. First, this bill validates official military orders and housing assignment letters as sufficient proof of residency. This provision alone would have secured our daughter's timely enrollment, allowing her to start the academic year alongside her classmates and directly addressing the barrier we encountered. Second, while our experiences with a local move, the difficulties are exponentially greater for families relocating from out of state. Therefore, the provision within SB 263 that mandates a remote registration process is not merely a convenience, but a critical lifeline. It provides a practical solution for families who are unable to physically be present to manage these administrative requirements. Military children demonstrate immense resilience, but their lives are characterized by frequent disruption in service to our nation. Senate Bill 263 is not about convenience. It is necessary to reform to provide the stability and predictability these children deserve. It ensures that when a military family is ordered to serve in Maryland, our state's school doors will be open without question to their children. For these reasons, I urge you to support our military families. I respectfully ask for your affirmative vote on Senate Bill 263. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to pull up our virtual. It's Mr. Arnold. Okay, Chris, Mr. Arnold, you're part of Senator Brooks's sponsor panel, signed up straight favorable. Okay, I see you. So you can begin. You're on the up to 2-minute clock, okay? Mr. Arnold?
Thank you, Chairman. Christopher Arnold with the Department of War's Defense State Liaison Office. This bill's already passed the House unanimously with the clarifying amendment before you. Because when a sergeant gets orders and their special needs child can't get an IEP transferred, that individual is not thinking about the mission. They're thinking about their kid going without services. 42% of military families reported that their child's IEP was not implemented at their new school, and 31% said their kids went without services for more than 60 days after a PCS move. Senate Bill 263 fixes this. Every delay compounds. Maryland already leads. First state with the Department of Veterans and Military Families. First to put your state's MIC3 Council in coordination with your Military Installation Council. First to include a military child on a state board. This bill builds on that foundation by codifying what the research shows works. Operational clarity and accessible implementation. Maryland's already doing the hard part. You have the framework. The bill operationalizes it so families can actually use it. Just finish building what you've started and make it work the way that you have intended. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arnold. That was good to hear how out front we are as a state on these issues. I'm going to open up the questions for the panel or Senator Brooks. Okay, seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Is our other virtual? No. Okay, that's going to conclude the bill hearing on Senate Bill 263. Speaking of military, we got another veteran. We got Senator Fulton in the House. We're going to bring him up here on Senate Bill 329. And we've got one witness favorable, Chris Palombi. Chris, why don't you come on up? You're signed straight favorable. And then we just have one virtual witness that's favorable to amendments. See you in the queue. Joe and Carver. Okay, Senator Fulton, take the time you need, present 329, then we'll go to you, Chris, and you are the two witnesses on this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, esteemed colleagues. For the record, William Fulton, State Senator representing the 4th Legislative District. Before you today is Senate Bill 329, the Education Certification of Scholarship Granting Organizations, the Opting In on Opportunity Act. Simply put, this allows the state, this bill is enabling. It isn't a requirement. It is an enabling legislation for the purpose of the State Department of Education to approve and certify nonprofit organization that meets certain requirements as a scholarship granting organization, and that organization under these scholarship granting organizations, that they would be eligible to receive under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025 allows for federal individual income tax credit for up to $1,700 of the amount of qualified cash contributions to be contributed to this program and be a benefit for these organizations for the purposes of the federal income tax credit program and qualified elementary and secondary education scholarships, then establishes the specified reporting requirements through MSDE of the SGOs. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions, but this enabling legislation allows our taxpayers to opt into the opportunity to contribute to our primary and secondary schools to help benefit our children directly, especially in times when we are dealing with budgetary shortfalls. This is an opportunity for us to create a path forward that benefits our immediate school districts around us and allows people to write off those taxes to benefit them. And with that, I would ask for a favorable report.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Let's go to you, Mr. Palombi, and you can proceed.
Thank you. Chair Feldman, Vice Chair, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today in support of Senate Bill 329. My name is Chris Palombi. I am a proud parent of 3 students, 2 in public schools, 1 in private. I also worked in education in the public and currently work in the private sector. I taught computer science. I've also spent 17 years coaching boys and girls ice hockey, and I've seen firsthand how a supportive environment that meets each child's needs unlocks confidence, achievement, and success. Every learner is different, and every student deserves access to the tools to help them succeed. And when I taught computer science, I quickly learned that students absorb information in various different ways. Some are visual learners who need diagrams and flowcharts. Some are auditory learners who understand best through explanation. And others are hands-on learners who grasp concepts when they can test, experiment, and debug codes themselves. 2 students can sit in the same class, hear the same lesson, and one understands immediately while the other needs a different approach. That doesn't mean one is less capable. It means that they learn differently. And Senate Bill 329 recognizes that reality. It allows Maryland to opt into the Federal Education Tax Scholarship Program, providing dollar-for-dollar federal tax credit up to $1,700 for donations to scholarship organizations that help students access educational resources such as tutoring, therapy, specialized instruction, aftercare activities, and tuition. This is a federal opportunity that Maryland must opt into for our families to benefit. And if Maryland does not opt in, Maryland students will not be able to access this private funding. The bill does not divert Maryland education funding. It does not require new state spending. And again, I've seen students with learning needs thrive when they receive the right supports. Many students, including those on IEPs or specialized learning needs, require services. In some families, those supports are financially out of reach. This program helps build a gap where a student remains in public schools or needs supplemental services beyond. 27 states already opted in, and Colorado Governor Jared Polis chose to opt his state into the program too, stating that it creates an immense opportunity for families and emphasized that if Colorado did not participate, the state would be leaving millions of federal dollars on the table that could help children. And in Maryland's cases, could be up to $1.5 billion left on the table. So with that being said, I'll wrap up. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for a vote in favorable vote for SB 329. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. Questions for Senator Fulton or our witness, Senator Carrozza?
Senator Fulton, thank you for the bill, and thank you, Mr. Palombi, for your testimony. And just because you have this kind of unique experience of having children in both public and private schools, and then your own experience, it sounds like, public and private schools. Can you explain how this would actually work? You know, when we talk about the opt-in, what does that actually mean?
So the opting in, the federal side doesn't get fully active until 2027. But many states are opting in right now at the moment. And so what it does, it gives each of the states who does opt in the opportunity to and again, for the state of Maryland, it would allow the comptroller, you all could further regulate the rules too, but you all have oversight. Every organization, the student governing organization, they have to be a 501c3. They have to go through the proper channels to make sure they have to have a minimum of 10 students that they give these scholarship grants to. And each one of those students have to attend schools that are also, again, accredited by the states as well. So for the case of Maryland, for example, according to the Maryland State Department of Education's data from 2024-25 enrollment reports, Maryland has 1,026,820 students K through 12 statewide. And of those students, 87% attend public schools, or 13% attend private or other schools too. So that means, just because there's tax donations, they may support those eligible educational programs, that 87, if you think about state by state number wise, 87%, nearly 9 out of 10 of our students who could use this get that funding. And again, it's going to be based on the organizations too. So, for example, one of the students who I taught and coached, she had dyslexia, so she needed additional help and assistance. So if she's having trouble, such organization could be established that gets this tax credit funding through, and they could say, hey, we're going to allocate the $1,700 towards this family, which could go towards her getting additional needs for her dyslexia.
So by not opting in, you're literally leaving that money on the table.
Absolutely, absolutely would. And again, just for the case of Maryland, if we have about 30% who would opt into it, that's about, you might be looking at $500 million.
That's impressive.
And Senator,
Thank you.
I would like to clarify also, you would still be able to donate $1,700. It just wouldn't go to Maryland.
Yeah. Yeah, so anybody can donate to other organizations that goes towards, but it would go to other states. So West Virginia and Virginia, they've opted in.
Yeah, this would be an opportunity for us to codify that we would like to have those monies received in our state for our charter schools, for other programs that are struggling. I mean, I just had kids from Sibyllesville Nature School here at my office the other day. I mean, these are organizations that are growing our programs, growing our children, and they're an opportunity to be a recipient of these potentially.
This is an impressive amount of money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, additional questions? Okay, thank you, Senator Fulton.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Concludes bill hearing on Senate Bill 329. And we're going to next go to Senator Lonzo Washington here? He's on his way. Okay, let's wait a minute. We've got two bills left, one from Senator Lonzo Washington, one from Senator Hester. So let's just wait. We have been told he is en route, so let's wait a second. And by the way, we are officially at the halfway point. I want to congratulate you all for making it to day 45. Another 45, and what's that? Okay, maybe it's tomorrow, but business day. Okay, let's go, Senator Hester. We got two bills left, one Hester bill, one Lonzo Washington bill. So let's go Senator Hester bill, which is Senate Bill 299. Two favorable witnesses signed up, Harriet Kuhn and Jordan Hammock. And Senator Hester, why don't you present 299?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Katie Fry-Hester here to present Senate Bill 299. This bill is about establishing a policy for therapy dogs in public schools. I will be brief because the hour is late, and you can all see my beautiful fuzzy companion next to me. The point of this bill is that obviously this committee talks a lot about the anxiety and depression that our youngsters have suffered, particularly since the COVID-19 pandemic. And therapy dogs in schools are one proven way to reduce symptoms of stress, increase positive emotions, and reduce task avoidance in classrooms. The presence of these therapy dogs is growing. They are in schools, nursing homes, and other public spaces. And as communities recognize their unique ability to provide comfort. And there is research that I won't bore you with, but basically it says therapy dogs can deliver measurable socioeconomic, socio-emotional, cognitive, and health benefits across diverse age groups. The problem, colleagues, is that right now there's absolutely, kind of no state guidance on this. And so we have some counties, like Montgomery County, Frederick, Baltimore, and Kent, that have a policy and allow these therapy dogs to come into their schools. There are other counties that have completely banned it, and there are some counties where they're just kind of, frankly, winging it. They allow the dogs in without a policy. And so basically, I'm going to speak to what the bill will do as enabled, because as amended, because I have an amendment that I want to talk through. But basically, as amended, the bill will ensure that if schools choose to have therapy dogs in the classroom, and if they are authorized, then there must be a policy. That's simply what the bill will now do as amended. You will probably notice in your testimony that there was opposition from Mabe and Bazam, but I believe as amended, we have addressed their concerns. I would respectfully request your favorable opinion on Senate Bill 299 and turn it over to my panel.
Is the dog going to testify first?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
What's his name?
This is Louie.
Louie, okay, Louie.
So I will introduce him.
Okay, why don't you proceed?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. My name's Harriet Lorinsky-Kuhn, and this is Louie. I am in my 35th year as a school psychologist, 26 years in DC Public, and 10th now in Montgomery. I've testified in support of allowing therapy dogs in all Maryland schools previously, actually 6 years ago, and it's a passion of mine. This bill provides a framework for boards of education statewide and guidance on how to integrate dogs into schools. Therapy dogs are now permitted in all MCPS schools. MCPS has successfully piloted a school therapy dog program across all schools in the district with 5 agencies through use of memorandums of understandings and their therapy dogs teams, fully vetted and trained volunteers in many Maryland schools. Therapy dogs are still banned or inconsistently allowed. This is the right time to pass the bill statewide. SB 299 has no fiscal note. It establishes a consistent statewide framework that ensures safe, responsible, and equitable implementation across the state, while still allowing each school system the flexibility to create policies that meet local needs. As both a psychologist and a therapy dog handler, I've seen firsthand the difference therapy dogs can make to help students in crisis. This is important to know. The dog handler teams have been first responders in Montgomery County with the crises. They've responded to multiple crises just this year, including a shooting, death of several students, and other significant mental health crises among school-age students who struggle with suicidal ideations, drug use, anxiety, grief, depression, and school avoidance. Therapy dogs are an important mental health tool. These trained dogs provide evidence-based, no-cost, high-impact intervention. So I'm going to tell you also that they're used as read dogs in the schools, supporting reluctant readers and developing confidence and fluency. I respectfully urge you to give SB 299 a positive vote of confidence so that it has the opportunity to soar out of this committee. This way, every school system in Maryland has the guidance and opportunity to use therapy dogs to support students and staff in school. Thank you to all of you, and I'm grateful for the work you do to help children. Now, this is Jordan, and he's going to testify next.
Okay, but I do have to acknowledge that Louis is officially, in this 4-year term, the first dog to testify, to be at a witness table in this committee room. So he, yes, he's breaking new ground here. Okay, Jordan, your turn to testify.
Hi, Chair Feldman. My name is Jordan Hamouche. I was born.
Jordan, you got put the mic. Yeah, you got to talk in the mic.
My name is Jordan Hamouche. I was born on May 7th, 2015. I'm 10 years old and I am in the 5th grade at Twinbrook Elementary School. I just want to ask you if you want me to talk about therapy dogs, and I can tell you a lot about them. The first therapy dog I ever met was Cozy Girl. I really like Cozy Girl, Michigan therapy dog who used to come to Twinbrook. She was adorable, had a cute collar, and was very proud. She used to lick me and let me She used to lick me and let me pet her and scratch her chin. Therapy dogs help kids by helping kids learn to be good leaders. I miss Cozy Girl, and I'm sad that she passed or died away. Passed away or died. Miss Kuhn has a new dog who is here today. His name is Louis. His name is Louis. A therapy dog's job is to be nice to kids and nice to adults and to be nice to everyone. Maybe you'll agree that all kids should be able to have a therapy dog come to their school. Other kids should have a therapy dog in their schools because it would be nice to have the dogs to help kids to learn to be good people. Dogs let kids pat their heads, and their heads are very soft. And I feel good and happy when I pet a therapy dog's head. Dogs can do different tricks to make kids feel better. and you can also feed them treats. The dogs make kids feel happy and loved, and the kids make the dogs feel loved. When I get to walk with a therapy dog, I feel loved and special. Do you agree or not that we can have dogs in schools in the state of Maryland? So that's it for today. Thank you for allowing me to testify today.
Okay, fantastic job, Jordan. We're going to take questions for the panel, and we're going to start with the Vice Chair Kagan and then Senator Carrozza.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jordan, you did great. Harriet, it's always fun to see you. We've known each other for decades. And Louis was awesome. Question for Senator Hester. This bill goes into effect July 1st of this year, and it's supposed to, therefore, if you can clarify, be in effect for the next school year. And there needs to be a policy and guidelines and allergies and notifications and all that. Just wondering if you've worked with the Maryland Association of Boards of Education and others about whether that timetable is realistic and okay by them.
I think as amended, the bill is authorizing legislation, so that just means that any time after that, they can do it if they so want to.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, Senator Carrozza and then Senator Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Hester, thank you for the bill. Jordan, that was outstanding. I wanted to let you know, and I do have a question with this, but tomorrow night I'm actually attending a fundraiser for therapy dogs that the Ocean City Fire Department has. So I would invite Louis to come meet his friends Max and Rowan in Ocean City tomorrow night at Secrets. But it is a fundraiser, and it is raising awareness of the value and benefits of therapy dogs. My question is, and again, I know that this is geared, for the boards of education, the school systems, but have we thought about, and maybe Ms. Kuhn, you're aware of this, the partnerships? For instance, I know that the Ocean City Fire Department will take the therapy dogs into the schools, and there's a good partnership there, and I don't know if you can have some of those partnerships in place.
Yes, Montgomery County has successfully now piloted the program, the therapy dog program. They're allowed in all Montgomery County schools through the use of 5 therapy dog organizations that vet and test the dogs. They have to be certified, the handler and the dog. And the really nicest part about this is that what this bill does is it sets up a state standard. The research that I've done really shows that there's no policies nationwide. And since Senator Kagan knows me really well, she knows I'm very determined. And so the next step after Maryland passes this bill is to take it to all 50 states. And this is really important, I think, for everyone to have access. It's an access bill. It's an equity bill. And I may just drive to Ocean City tomorrow night to go to that fundraiser. You'll have to give me the information, please.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Brooks, why don't you have the last question? I did have to ask Louis, has he been to Secrets before? That would be,
To Secrets.
That's an Ocean City establishment.
Oh, no.
He has not been there? Okay, well, he's been invited by Senator Carrozza, so you may want to take that up.
Okay.
Okay, Senator Brooks?
Thanks, Chair. Sponsor, thanks for the bill. Yeah, did you get a chance to read the letter from Mabe?
So yes, and I think that that in the House, there's been lots of conversations that have gone on, and that's why I'm speaking to the bill as amended, as amended. So there is an amendment. I hope it's in your packet, but basically it just is enabling legislation now that says that if the schools want to have a therapy dog, then they should have a therapy dog policy. Good job.
Okay, good. Thanks, Chair.
Okay.
Can I just add one quick thing?
Yeah, real quick.
I just ran into the Maryland State Department of Education's Carrie Wright in the ladies' room, and she was going to look the bill over as well. So I have spoken with her staff, and they were very interested in it as well.
You and the state superintendent of schools negotiated some amendments in the ladies' room here. I just wanted to get that.
I told her about the amendments.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, very good. Okay. Additional questions for the panel? Seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on Senate Bill 299. Thank you, Louis, Jordan, for your testimony.
Thank you.
Okay, our final bill of the day from Senator A. Washington on Senate Bill 350. Senator, I'm going to call up some witnesses who've signed up all favorable. I know Juanita Miller's not here, but I do believe we've got Jonathan Carpenter in replacing Rihanna Saslow, and then we do have two virtual witnesses. Are they in the queue? Or?
Oh, we do have some folks here.
Tim DeRouche, okay.
All right.
Okay, Senator Washington, the floor is yours on Senate Bill 350. That's our last bill of the day.
Nice. I got all the time I need, right? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. There we go. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Senator Alonzo Washington here to present on this great bill, Senate Bill 350. This bill gives Maryland families something they have been asking for, a fair, realistic way to access public schools outside of their county of residence without paying the tuition. SB 350 is about opening doors that have been closed for far too long, especially for students who are ready for advanced coursework, such as the college career readiness pathways, career technical education or CTE programs, and dual enrollment opportunities. Students who are ready for these programs often cannot access them simply because their home county does not offer those opportunities. Families face inconsistent rules, unclear timelines, and no uniform process for seeking access to the programs that align with their child's goals. This bill creates a voluntary statewide framework that gives families a transparent way to request enrollment in another county that's not within their limits. This bill does not mandate participation, shift funding, or override local control. It simply creates a voluntary, transparent process that counties can adopt based on their capacity and program availability. This bill provides families with a fair pathway opportunity without imposing new burdens on local county school systems. I would like to just take this opportunity to recognize my intern, Hannah, who's worked extremely hard on this bill and working with all our advocates. She is a Prince George's County native. She lives in Bowie, but she's at Arundel Community College, and so I'm really proud of her and all her hard work. So she's going to take it over from here. Anna, go ahead.
Are you a constituent of Senator Ron Watson out of Bowie?
Yes.
I just want to get that on the record. Yeah, put the mic.
There you go.
Okay, Hannah, welcome.
Hi. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair, and members of the committee, and everyone else as well. My name is Hannah Slow. I'm a resident of Prince George's County and a paralegal studies student at Anne Arundel Community College and a legislative intern for Senator Alonzo T. Washington. I attend Anne Arundel Community College because my home county does not offer an American Bar Association approved paralegal program, and neither do several surrounding counties. If I wanted a credible pathway into the legal field, I had to cross county lines. And because Maryland has no clear statewide process for students who need programs outside of their home county, I had to navigate inconsistent rules and pay out-of-county tuition, even though I had no comparable option where I live. The SB 350 white paper describes this exactly. Families face unclear timelines, uneven access, and no consistent process. That was my experience. I'm an adult student and I can advocate for myself, but many of my peers can't. A high schooler who wants a career technical education program their county doesn't offer shouldn't be limited by their zip code. As the bill analysis notes, too many students are locked out of specialized programs simply because they live on the wrong side of a line. My story is just one example of what happens when opportunity depends on geography. Senate Bill 350 doesn't force counties to expand programs or accept unlimited transfers. It simply creates a clear, fair, and transparent process so students and families can access programs that already exist. For these reasons, I respectfully request a favorable report on Senate Bill 350. Thank you all so much for your time.
Okay, Mr. Carpenter, thank you, Hannah. Mr. Carpenter, why don't you go next?
Jonathan Carpenter, Greenville Consulting Group. I'm actually here, Mr. Chair and Ms. Vice Chair and members of the committee. We had 7 parents and families that were not able to make it. They testified Wednesday in the Ways and Means Committee. And when I thought about who was best to do this, I thought about myself. I normally don't do this as a lobbyist. I'm doing this as a parent of 40 years, a parent that's always been involved in his kids' lives. I didn't realize how much I depended on alternative options for my own children. My 40-year-old son, I was a PTA president. I founded a PTA at one of our schools. One of our kids went to a Montessori school, which I, being a public education kid, knew nothing about. But we had that different alternative for the first time in our family, and she did, and was the best thing we ever did. Also, I had a kid that went to a virtual school. As a result of her going to that alternative option, she went to college as a junior because of the virtual education that that opportunity. So I'm just here to speak about the alternative choices for parents. I think that this bill, so eloquently spoken by our sponsor, it doesn't strain the system. It just gives parents other options. And that's what this bill is all about, Senate Bill 350. I just want to say that, Maryland's assignment system quietly sorts children in zip codes, our families. We know about redlining. Redlining is real. Redlining still exists. We have systems where the redlining keeps our kids in certain neighborhoods, and we're just talking about the opportunity to get out of those neighborhoods and access schools and other places if they have the resources. This bill does not require transportation. It would allow parents to come up with their own transportation if they were wanting to go to another county or outside of county district lines. Because this is enabling, counties are not mandatorily would have to do this. It would be enabling. So again, Senate Bill 350, I think, is all about fairness, and I urge a favorable vote. Thank you.
Okay, Rihanna.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of this bill. My name is Rihanna Saslow, and I am here on behalf of the National Parents Union, a network of about 1.6 million parents, many of whom live right here in Maryland. Parents want their children to have a fair shot at a great education. But today, that opportunity is too often determined by their zip code. School attendance boundaries are typically a direct legacy of housing segregation. Families can't pay thousands of dollars in private school tuition, they can't afford to move to better districts, and some face massive fines just for trying to get their kids into a better school. This is not equity. This does not uphold education's role as a great equalizer. And it does not fulfill Maryland's constitutional promise of a thorough and efficient system of public schools. Senate Bill 350 takes an important step toward fixing that by allowing students to attend public schools outside of their home county free of charge. This is exactly what parents are asking for. According to our polling, 83% of parents support open enrollment policies. SB 350 gives parents the choice they desperately want while keeping resources and students in our public schools. We know this approach works. Similar policies across the country have improved student outcomes, expanded access to advanced coursework, and spurred continuous community engagement. Parents are not asking for special treatment. They're asking for access to opportunity, to quality, and to hope. On behalf of the National Parents Union and the families we represent, we urge you to pass Senate Bill 350 and take a meaningful step towards a stronger public education system for every child in Maryland. Thank you for your time and commitment to Maryland students.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to our final with Mr. DeRouche, and I have to go to a meeting across the street, and I'm going to let the vice chair handle it. And I want to bid everybody adieu for the weekend. Good job, and Mr. DeRouche, the floor is yours for up to 2 minutes. And you can proceed.
All right. Thank you, Chair. Thank you to the committee for this opportunity to testify in support of Senate Bill 350. I'm Tim DeRouche. I'm the founder and president of Available to All. We're a nonpartisan watchdog. And what we do is defend this fundamental American principle of equal access to the public schools. Before founding Available to All, I wrote a book called A Fine Line, How Most American Kids Are Kept Out of the Best Public Schools. And in my book and at Available to All, we've been calling attention to the problems associated with strict residential assignment systems. So this fundamental way that kids are assigned to public schools based on their address. The most obvious problem with this is that there are vast gaps in opportunity to enroll in high quality public schools based on whether you live on one side of the street or the other. But it also has a lot of negative effects downstream, even outside of education, driving up the cost of homes in neighborhoods that are appealing to young families. And so we've called attention over the years to the fact that these policies are very similar in many ways to the racist redlining practices of the 1930s when whole neighborhoods were denied access to government mortgages or housing assistance based on maps drawn by the government. And so we at Available to All support open enrollment policies like Senate Bill 350. I want to note that Maryland has one of the strictest systems of residential assignment in the country. The Reason Foundation gave Maryland its lowest possible grade in its 2025 rankings of the states. And so Senate Bill 350 is a good step in the right direction to open up opportunity for more kids to attend high-quality public schools.
Thank you, Mr. DeRoche. Colleagues, do you have questions? Yeah, for Hannah or yes, Senator Croza.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Senator Washington, thank you for the bill. And you did excellent. Do you pronounce it Lean? Your first name?
Hannah.
Hannah, well, you did excellent as well. And a strong panel. My question is, and I've kind of been reading through Senator Washington, and I the case that you're making for, what is best for the students. And I see that focus. And then I read through and you saw some of the opposition testimony. And of course, I kind of thinking through that, and I don't know if you've had an opportunity to either talk with some of those, but, could this be a case where in order to make it manageable, because it seemed like as I was reading through this, there was concern about this whole-scale change and disrupting the current public school system. Is there a way, as you're presenting the bill, that maybe you start in increments, or maybe or how do we give enough flexibility locally so we can maybe have those better serve some of those students, but not have it cause some of the disruptions that the opponents say it would. So I guess I'm asking if you've thought through any incremental approaches to this.
You want to answer?
So thank you so much for allowing me to share. I did think about this. I'm thinking maybe a good idea would be to just start by picking which programs are the most important and aren't available in certain counties, and allowing those certain students who want to be able to participate or have the grades to go ahead and participate in it. I know capacity was something I was thinking about as well, and I know those programs, obviously, not everybody is going to want to do a career technical education program. So, yeah.
Some type of targeting. Senator Washington, do you want to expound on that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think Hannah expressed those comments very well, and I think it's really important. I think we are starting incrementally, honestly. I mean, we're starting with not open enrollment for all classes, right? We're talking about the advanced classes that are available there, the CTE programs that are available, because there's some that are available even within our school system that aren't available to a certain student that's even within that same jurisdiction, right? And so if we allow this, and again, it's enabling legislation, so they can pick and choose whether or not they want to do it, and they can pick and choose which part of these programs that they want to do. I think that part of the issue that a lot of our school systems say to us is that, well, we can't do it if you're going to mandate it, give us some money. But we've given our school systems a lot of money, a lot of opportunity to be flexible. And I think this is one opportunity for parents to say, well, if my child doesn't have this, my child wants to experience aerospace and technology, well, maybe it's available in another jurisdiction, and maybe their class isn't full, and that kid will be able to apply and get into that program if it's not full that year. So I think we're starting incrementally right now. We can do even more incrementally, if you will, as Hannah was saying. But I think that we can fine tune this bill a little bit more to help with some of the issues with the opposition.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, Vice Chair. So, Senator Washington, I think this is a great bill, and to be honest with you, I think it's a good start to a bigger problem. In my opinion, I think we should move into a process, the process in which you have this bill in, as well as I think certain community colleges should be focused on certain things. Every community college don't need to be focused on every single thing that, so if it's Anne Arundel County focused on one piece, Prince George is focusing on technology. That way, there's no competing against each other. Right. And so my question for you, Hannah, yes, is that even though it wasn't offered in Prince George's County, you're perfectly fine going to Anne Arundel County Community College. It wasn't the issue. Only thing you wanted was to make sure you had the same exact fairness that you would have got if you went to Prince George's.
Exactly. I just want to make sure other students would have the same opportunity that I had, because the paralegal program, being ABA certified, offers students better chances of getting into internships, getting jobs, things like that. And as we all know, Prince George's County, it's full of people of color that look like me. So I feel like that's really important for us as well. But you made a good point. It would be great if some schools are specified on certain things, but that doesn't mean it should be hard for a student to go there or pay out of pocket or anything like that just to get a chance.
Absolutely.
That program.
Thank you.
I see no other questions from colleagues. Hannah, congratulations. Senator Washington, thank you all. And that completes the hearing on Senate Bill 350. And with that, this committee is adjourned for the day and the weekend. Have a good weekend.